I thought the brewery was in Philadelphia area.
No, it's in Pottsville. So yeah, Yinling originally is brewed in Pottsville, but they do have a strong following in the Philadelphia area.
They
Now,
have a strong following in the they have a strong following in the Georgia area as well.
wait,
Um,
really?
yeah, dude. When we went to Austin's wedding, one of the beers he had at the wedding, he only had like 3 beers at the wedding, right? One of them was Yingling.
That's awesome.
He had a classic Georgia like IPA that was locally brewed around him,
Hmm.
and then he had a Yingling there as well. And I'm like, what? I gotta get the Yingling. And I think he had Bud Light. And when I was getting a little too intoxicated, because you can feel like the Yingling headaches
Yeah.
coming,
Oh
right?
yeah.
I switched to Bud Light, and everyone made fun of me. And I was like, hey,
You're trying to
what
like
the
keep
fuck?
it keep your shit together. Like, oh,
Yeah.
pussy, what are you doing?
And I don't know. Did I ever tell you? You may have seen the picture, but I gave the speech at
Yeah,
Austin's wedding as
I remember
like,
you talking about it.
yeah, and just absolutely had a game plan, and I feel like I've developed a crucial tool that I've learned. If Because I don't like reading speeches off of a pre-written thing, right?
Yeah, I think it's very disingenuous. I don't like it either.
So what I normally do is I formulate a speech, and I have like a few points that I want to hit very well in my head,
uh,
and then I just fill in the rest because I can talk, right? I'm pretty good at talking.
okay,
So that's how I do all my speeches, and everyone loves my speeches when I give
that's
them.
good.
I've been told many times I give good speeches. Well, what I found is that when you're doing a speech that requires you to think at the same time, you shouldn't drink a whole lot beforehand. I think
No, yeah, that you
because when
got
I
you.
walked up there, I was like all prepared, but when I walked up there, dude, I completely blanked at the mic,
Mm,
and I made a speech up on the fly, which I think, looking back on it, was pretty good
okay,
for making it up on the fly. Um, but man, it would have been so much better, I think, if I could have worked it like I thought I should have. But to be fair, a lot of people came up to me afterwards and they were like, "Oh, that was a really great speech." I was like, "Thank you,
that's good.
thank
I'm
you."
glad you nailed it.
And
That-
Austin's new father-in-law was like, "Man, I thought Austin always had the radio voice, but I think you might have him beat." And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, Austin Eller, I'm coming for your job."
yeah, you heard it here first, folks. So now that we've had enough little scuttlebutt,
Let's go.
welcome everyone. We're back. This is the Alpha Nerds. I don't remember what number episode this is. I believe this is episode number 9.
This is episode number 9, buddy.
Episode number 9. It's been good. I'm glad we are slowly approaching double digits. This has been fun. How
Yeah,
you
we're,
been,
we're
buddy?
getting in there. We're getting in there. You know what, dude? I've been good. I've been good. I interviewed for a new position
Again?
this
Damn.
week. Yep. I'm going for another promotion. Dude,
Okay, I
it's
like
funny.
it.
It's really easy to be more successful and move up at your job when everyone above you has quit.
Yeah. You got to strike while the
Which isn't
iron's hot.
it's not necessarily true, but um where I work, there was a previous facility,
Oh,
um and when they built this when that place closed down and this new company that I work for came in like 20 years ago, they brought a whole bunch of this old people as well that would
and they
work at
all
the old
retire
facility.
finally.
So they're all getting old, they're all retiring. And then of course we are having some of that, the great resignation, quitting going on. So I mean, honestly, for your boy, it's been great. I've been doing great.
Hey, sometimes you got to seize opportunities. Kick when the door of opportunities there, you kick it in. That's what I believe in.
COVID has been great for paper makers. All right, let me tell you
Yeah,
what.
you still got a
My
hand in everyone's
bonus
ass.
my bonuses during 2020 were wonderful. Thank you all for being idiots and hoarding toilet paper because
Hey,
I made tons of money off of it.
as long as you benefited, man, because I mean, COVID was good to me too. Like my way of life didn't really change. Like in fact, I made more money, got promoted a couple times. So actually, my life got better too during COVID. Um, and then post COVID, it's been a weird world because like now we're in that weird phase where for some reason, like I don't know what's causing it, but people just don't want to work, and I think we've gotten way too used to like being able to figure out ways to just not work and still live comfortably. But it
Well,
is weird seeing like hiring signs literally everywhere, and then people saying there's no jobs.
I don't know if I agree with you. I don't know if I agree with you. And let me tell you this, because I live in the number one highest poverty town in Pennsylvania, Lock Haven, right?
Really?
There's no, yes, Lock Haven's because of all the government housing here.
Ah,
I think what you're seeing is not people don't want to work. What it is a lot of people lost their jobs during COVID, and people had to get creative. And because of people getting creative, word spread about all these other ways to make money that don't require you to get your absolute ass trampled every single day, right?
yeah,
So like a lot of people started Ubering and Door Dashing. I don't know about where you are, but like, dude, Uber and DoorDash has exploded in Lock Haven.
yeah. It's around
Um,
here.
you
I've
know,
considered
like
doing it, but man,
it's and you can make a lot of money in a college town doing Uber and DoorDash. And I think personally, man, I don't know about you, but like a lot of people I think would make less money and be happy than go to a soulless job that is requiring them to do absolute nonsense just to stay busy, or requiring them to stand up all day at a cash register for no reason. Um,
yeah,
what Chrono's causing a ruckus. Um, but it's causing them to stand at a cash register all day for no reason, or paying them just the bare minimum. Um, and it's like I think people can do better. And I'm not one of these like socialist, communist guys, but I think we both know companies take advantage of their employees all the time,
excuse me.
dude,
Yeah, oh yeah.
all the
Oh my
time.
god, yeah.
And I mean, this just goes to show. I think it's awesome that like Walmart had to start paying their employees $16 an hour,
Yeah, I agree.
because for the amount of money that Walmart brings in every day, that them starting people out at like $8 an hour or whatever it was,
It's fucked
absolutely
up.
absurd. And things like that. And I know my company, they raised the bottom rate, and everyone got boosted because of it.
Hmm.
So it worked out for people in the long run. Now, of course, all those raises mean almost nothing because
Yeah, there's just inflation.
because
Everything goes through.
inflation just
Yeah,
absolutely killed it. But I know for me, like I'm making close to double what I made pre-COVID, so it's worked out pretty good.
that's good. That's good. And here's the thing that like we I guess we never thought of like when we were younger about like how you gonna live, like what kind of life you want to live, like what do you want to do. And because before I took the job I currently have now, or that I working for the same entity that I work for, I guess let me put it that way, like I never thought about benefits or retirement or anything like that, so I kind of stumbled my way into like a job where if I get sick, I can just get sick. Like I can be sick for a week and still get paid. It's not gonna matter. Um, and if I want to take vacation time, I have a bunch of hours I can use there. I have holiday leave I can use. So like I consider myself lucky because like when I hear people talk about like oh I ran out of PTO days, I'm like what? Like where some people only get 3 for a year or for a quarter or whatever it is. I'm like what the fuck? Like how are you supposed to live? And now as I get older, it's more about a lifestyle versus like how much I'm making. So I took to take the job I currently have right now. I took a $10,000 pay cut, and for a year, but I'm happy. Like I love what I do. It's not stressful. I'm home more now, believe it or not, than I ever was with that other job. Like I'm home every night. I'm not getting calls. I'm not stressed out. Like, I look forward to, like, oh, I can go home and do this tonight, or I can, I'm looking forward to this on the weekend, or oh, we have a holiday coming up. I'm finally excited for fucking holidays, where I'm not just like, working my ass off and just missing time. Like, and I feel like I spent so much of my 20s just working and working and working and grinding, and because I thought I was going to get the big payoff, and
Yeah,
then like I realized as I get older, like it's not about that. It's like
yeah,
what you're doing with your downtime. Like, your job isn't who you are, it's what you do. And it's important to do something you like that you can tolerate, but and if you're passionate about it, but it's also important to like live a good life.
yeah. And I think I'm glad to hear you say that because I think that's what I was trying to get across to you when we lived together, and it was just so hard to see you like drain yourself
Hmm.
constantly at your job because there was things you wanted to do. I could tell, you wanted to play games more. You wanted to, explore the area we were in more and
Yeah.
whatnot. But you were never able to do that because you were constantly drained. You were constantly stressed, and
Yeah.
you were in a bad spot there for a while, bud. And
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear you. Glad to hear you are doing better professionally. That's great.
Yeah, it's important. I like we were saying the other day when we had our get together, like we all lucked. Well, I wouldn't say lucked, but we all found our way into good jobs and figured life out. Like not
Yeah,
that we have it completely figured out, but at least we all are in career fields and can take care of ourselves and aren't hurting. Like it's
yeah,
nice to see your boys doing well.
yeah. No, I think as far as the four of us go,
Yeah,
we've all figured it out. Robert's got a supervisor position now at his
he's a
job,
stud.
and yeah, he's a stud. He's doing great. He's home all the time now, and
Hmm.
and it's good to see Watson just got another promotion. So
Yeah, and he's a father now. Look at look
yeah,
look at
yeah,
him,
yep,
killing the game. That's outstanding. I'm so
yeah, man.
happy to see all our buddies doing well, and you're doing well. We're doing well. So
The boys have made it.
the boys have made it. So to the main portion, the main reason why we are here. We are fucking nerds. So I'm joined by Alpha Nerd Prime, Seth Slykehouse, and I am Alpha
Right.
Nerd Omega, Pedro Carrasquillo. What's up?
What's up, bud?
What's
Like
going on?
we already kind of we've been talking for 12 minutes, so
Yeah, might as well
we're kind of
introduce
we're,
ourselves.
we're kind of already in the trenches.
Yeah, but
We're
might as well, got,
we're
got,
already
got to
getting
get our names
shelled.
out there.
We're already
So,
getting shelled.
getting right into it. What have you been playing, buddy? I know you got a nice shiny toy that you told me about.
Yeah. So,
So proud of you.
um, did on the last episode did we talk about me beating Trails Cold Steel 4?
Yes.
Okay, so we do gotta at some point here have a separate episode designated to dissecting the Trails of Cold Steel
Yeah, we got to get in there.
and talking about Kiseki, that franchise.
Kaseki cast. Woo-hoo.
Because I mean we gotta talk about it a little bit today, but um, after that, after I beat that, I was sitting there and it was my birthday rolled around, and for some reason I was just feeling it, bud. I think it was between God of War coming out and Hogwarts Legacy coming out,
Yeah,
and I didn't want to water down experience God of War because that first game was so special, and I've
yeah.
been looking forward to this for years, man. Um, and I was sitting there and I was like, on my birthday, I was like, jokingly, I was like, oh, hey babe, how about I go buy a PS5 today? And Caitlin was like, yeah, sure, it's your money, do whatever you want with it. I'm like, all right. All right, so I'm like, I'm sitting there, at first it was a joke, and then like it became real, right? Um, so I'm like, yeah, just for fun, let's see if there's any available I can buy. Let's
Hmm.
just take a gander at it, and I ended up finding one, and the only way I could get it was with the Horizon Forbidden West bundle, and
Okay.
I'll be honest, dude, like I liked Horizon Zero Dawn when I played it, but it's one of those games that I've never felt any desire to return to.
Mm.
The expansion came out and I didn't go back to it. And famously, I never even completed Horizon Zero Dawn.
I've
Like,
actually never played it.
have you ever heard this story?
Vaguely. I remember you were like almost towards the end and then just never finished it.
Well, so I got to the last mission in that game, and it was the night Persona 5 came out.
Oh.
So, like, I told myself, I'm like, "Do not even open Persona 5." It was my night off. I remember I had a whole weekend off. I was like, "Do not even open Persona 5 until you beat this game." And
No,
I
that
sat
wasn't
there, dude,
happening.
and I was playing Horizon Zero Dawn, and I just remember, like, feeling the call of Persona 5 just, like, dragging me into the abyss, and I was like, "Fuck it. I'll take a break from Persona 5 at some point and wanna play Horizon Zero Dawn again." Nope, never went back.
Yeah, I don't even know why you lied to yourself about like, oh, like, come on, like why would you do that to yourself? That wasn't happening. But I respect the effort level. You know, like
Yeah.
when it's a JRPG and you want to get it finished. Yeah, I it pains me that I've never played Horizon Zero Dawn because like Guerrilla's probably one of my favorite developers, but I just never like for some reason like every time I go to play that game, same with like Ghost of Tsushima, I'm just like like it's like I know I'll like it so much that I don't want to play it.
I thought you were, enjoying Ghost of Tsushima.
I love it. I love Ghost of Tsushima, but like I like it so much that like for some reason I find reasons to not play it. Like just the lighting's not right. I'm just
Yeah.
I just can't get into it. Like I only have 2 hours where I want to play for five. Like so I just like
So,
find stupid excuses to not play it.
we were, talking about it last episode, and that made me really, like, you know, wanna get into Ghost of Tsushima. So, I started playing it on my PS4 while
Hmm.
I was waiting for my PS5, and, man, I'll be honest, not the game not the game that I wanted to play on my PS5. I don't see any upgrade for Ghost of Tsushima at all on the PS5. I thought it played really well on the PS4. I thought it was gorgeous on the PS4. And they said that, like, they upgraded it for the PS5, but I'm looking at it and playing it, I'm like, I don't know that there's much of any sort of upgrade here. The other thing
Did it
that I
run
wanna
at
bring up,
60 on the PS4?
I had a PS4 Pro.
See, I had a Pro too. So did it run at 60 on the Pro? I never played
I
the PS4
think
version.
I think it did. I think it did because I don't notice any difference in gameplay. Now, see that, and that's kind of what I want to bring up is that I don't know what cause I'm in a weird position, right? Because I did have a PS4 Pro and
Yeah.
all my games ran really, really well.
Hmm.
And I upgraded to the PS5, which is I think more of a marginal upgrade than most people had because the PS4 Pro only sold like a
Yeah.
few million units. So I think a lot of people just went from the base PS4 to the PS5, which is probably a bigger upgrade. But for me, I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't really see a whole lot of difference here. Now in Forbidden West is different. Forbidden West is gorgeous, and I do really like the Dual Sense. I was not a believer in the Dual Sense when I played it my computer with it
Uh-huh.
because that to me it was just like, "Oh, this is another controller." But I do like the haptic feedback is something you got to kind of feel. And Astro's Playroom, I did play through
I
when I
like
first got
Astro's
my
Playroom.
PS5. I loved it, dude. Me and Caitlin were playing through it, and even she was digging it. I think it's just a really cool, fun little game. Probably the best pack-in game I think I've played um, for a console.
I say I can't in good
And
faith say that Super Mario World, it's not Super Nintendo, best one. But
um, my cats are beating the shit out of each other. For some reason, when my cats get fed, they get really like crazy. They just want to fight. It's like
no,
a
I
fight
hear
fight
you. I
thing, but
have out of our 9 cat circus right now, they all for the most part get along, except two of them. Olive and Tinkerbell are mortal enemies, and it's like
I'll live
literally.
in Tinkerbell.
You ever watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
I watched the first season of it.
Okay, so it's basically Dio and Jonathan Joestar like just going at it, and it's pretty comical. They're literally
I,
mortal enemies.
I'm gonna be
I don't
honest,
know
dude.
why.
Like Dio needed to get put in the ground a lot earlier than he did. You
I
know,
agree. He was a dick.
when yeah, when Jonathan Joestar was dealing with all his bullying and whatnot, he should have just finished him right then and there.
Yeah. One of my favorite things
But
about Oh, JoJo's like where he's like goes into elaborate detail about how he's gonna fuck this dude over, like Dio.
Yeah.
Like I'm like Jesus Christ.
You definitely gotta be, I think, in, like, the right state of mind for
Yeah.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure because it is just so ridiculous and, like, comedic and over the top, but, back to what I was saying, I played a little bit of Horizon, and I was like, "Alright, this is I'm enjoying this, I'm digging it." But I really wanted to finish Ghost of Tsushima just to get it out of the way because I this I'm like, "Alright, I know I like this game, I never finished it, let's go for it." I have a little bit to say about Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh. Well, the
I
floor is
do.
yours, my friend.
I do, because I actually think this game is entirely too long.
Okay.
I
That's interesting.
have 30 hours or more in it right now. I don't know my exact hour count, but I spent all that time for the most part in the first area. And I did that because I was taking my time. I was really into the world they made, and I was like exploring, and I was just kind of playing the game naturally, right?
Yeah.
And then, how far in the game have you gotten?
I just got to like the second part or the second island,
Okay,
maybe.
okay, the second chapter.
Yeah.
I don't know how you felt, but for me, I was like, I think the game should have ended there. I really do. Like, it felt very climactic. Um, you had you retake the castle you lose
Yeah.
in the very opening of the game.
Yeah.
You have the showdown with your childhood friend
Yeah.
there. And it's a classic samurai fight, and I was doing that, and I'm like, huh. After we did that, it's like the game just continues, and then they were like, "Oh,
Yeah.
we gotta go take another castle, the bigger." And I'm like, I think you could have reorganized the story a little bit and just gave me like a solid 20-hour experience.
Okay.
Because now I'm in the second chapter, and I feel like I've gotten all there is to get out of the combat system, and there's not really any enticing upgrades for me at this point. And it's like there really only is four enemy types in the game.
Yeah.
You got
I
your
agree with
sword
that. Yeah.
enemies, your shield enemies, your spear enemies, and the brute enemies. Now they change up when you get to the second island, right? You start getting like the sword enemies start becoming like samurai instead of like it's the Mongols with the swords. But um it doesn't really make a difference because you're still just sitting there waiting for them to start making a move and then parrying them and then counterattacking. So, and I know I got the rest of chapter 2 and then the rest of chapter 3, and I'm like, "Oh, god, like, this just seems like a chore now." And I don't know, man. I'm not interested in much of the story, and it's got unskippable dialogue, which is a big no-no for me. I don't like that. And I don't think any of the characters are very good.
Really.
Yeah, so, like, I'm not really interested in any of the characters. And that hurts because I'm like, "Man, I love the gameplay," right? I love the gameplay, I love the combat, but it's getting a little repetitive at this point.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like after a while, like you do get what you possibly can out of the combat system. But where I've enjoyed it is I just love the world so much, and yeah, I just love the world so much and the aesthetic, and I like exploring. So I'm just kind of really, really enjoying it. So I'm never bored in the game. I'm never tired of anything, and I'm just like so immersed in it. Like I'm ready for a showdown with the final boss. Like I'm ready to continue liberating the land and seeing where it go seeing where it goes. And then there's the DLC to get into as well. So I'm gonna be playing Ghost of Tsushima for a while
Yeah,
probably.
I'm gonna check back in next week, and I'll probably have it beaten by then. But right now I'm like, man, I don't know. I'm waiting for that next hook to kind of pull me in, and I don't know if the story really has it. Um,
Are you doing the side stories at all?
I am. Um, I did a lot of them in that first area, right? Because
I
like I
did
said, I was
almost
just
I
playing the
did
game
almost all
naturally.
of them except the merchant.
But now I'm in the second chapter, and I'm like, I don't really like any of these fucking characters, man. I'm like, I don't really care about like Yuna or
Are you
not.
playing with subtitles or what are you doing?
I'm playing. I go back and forth. Right now, I'm playing with a dub. But I did play with the subtitles for a little bit. Then I got annoyed because not everything was subtitled. Like the
Mm.
random like NPCs in town, they're not subtitled. So you just gotta kind of like guess what they're saying. And I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna
Have you
do it, I
noticed,
guess.
like, when you hear the Mongolians talk whatever fucking language they're speaking, that you start picking up on what certain things mean?
No, I haven't had that.
See, what I noticed is, like, when you hear an archer go, he's like, "Gaza, Gaza," that means he's gonna shoot.
Oh yeah, yeah, I did know that. Yeah, I've noticed that.
That's about
I
it.
hate those
That's what
archers. Those archers are
they
fucking
are
thorn in my
dick
side.
bags.
Yeah, and like they're so accurate, it's ridiculous. You can be sprinting across the battlefield and they just clip you. And
Getting
I'm
yeah,
like, all right, come on.
take an arrow to the knee.
Yeah, come on. But I also, and you're gonna enjoy this. I also put in Yakuza Kiwami too.
Ah,
Yeah, I did put that
yes.
in. Immediately turned it off
Why'd you do that to me?
because they listen. I don't give a flying fuck about like the overarching story of Yakuza. Of like, like I care about like Kiryu's like smaller story about him personally
Yeah.
and like his rivalries and whatnot. But like the overall arching like war of the clans and whatnot, shit, bores me to death. And I put the game in and I started over because I didn't remember what the fuck was going on, and immediately I'm hit with a 25-minute like cutscene of like all this nonsense. And by the end of it, I'm like, well, I need a nap now. So I just like took a nap. I'm like, all right, we'll go back.
so
We'll come back to this later.
so it's funny because like I just watched the PS5 or the PlayStation, whatever the state of play. There we go. I was losing it. And I saw that we're getting another like a dragon game that's set in like samurai like basically right at the end of the samurai period. Um and I was like, "Oh yeah. This is what we've been waiting for." And because I've been waiting for like a Dragon Ishin for fucking years.
So
Years.
it is the ones that are
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Japan. Okay, that we never got. All right,
Yeah,
makes sense.
I'm pretty sure it's not a brand new one. I think it's just a rebranded like remastered remake maybe, but like it's
But they
definitely
did announce a new one though, right? With the new character and Kiryu.
Ichiban.
I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. Okay.
So, but it's been a while since I've played a Yakuza game. I think the last Yakuza game I beat was Yakuza 6 because I haven't played like a Dragon yet, the new one, the turn-based RPG. And because why I stopped was I got that Yakuza remastered collection that came with three. I beat three.
Yeah, I got it for your birthday, I believe.
Yeah, yes, you did, and it was glorious. But Yakuza 4 sucks, and that's the problem I'm having because like you and I famously disagree on Yakuza 0. Like I love
Yes.
Yakuza 0, you don't like it because of
Yeah.
the dual protagonists. So you play Yakuza 4, and there's four fucking protagonists, I believe there, and I'm like, okay, I see why you hated this.
You can't get attached. Four protagonists. That's a little too
Dude, it
much. That's
sucks. It
crazy.
sucks. And like, the thing I'm running into is like, I want to know the story, but I just don't want to play 4. Like, I fucking don't like Yakuza 4. I don't like the way it plays. Like that game, like if you were used to the Kiwami style, like where they were kind of more updated, then you go back to playing Yakuza 4, which is just an up-res PS3 port. It's gonna be very jarring for you.
It's gonna be rough, huh?
Yeah, I mean, not that it's a bad game, but like just the quality was so high in Zero and Kiwami 2 and Yakuza 6. Like they were high quality games, and then this game isn't quite that, and you're like, oh. So I gotta get through Yakuza 4 at some point. It's so low on the back burner that like I don't know if I'll ever play it. But
So
because like Yakuza 5, got
3, 4, and 5 are all PS3 games, right?
yeah,
Okay, that's what I
because
thought.
Yakuza 5 is supposed to be pretty freaking good, but um, yeah, it's just like I have such a love for that series because I remember we both discovered it around the same time,
Mhm.
like because I think they released Yakuza Kiwami for like I forget how much it was like $30 for the steelbook.
It was
And
yeah, it was cheap. We both found it separately,
yeah,
and I had it, and you're like, "Dude, that's a you game." I didn't listen to you forever,
hmm
and then I did end up eventually playing it and loving it.
yeah. So it's just like that. I love these games, and it's crazy how popular they are now. Um, and but have you played Judgment at all?
No, because I remember seeing you playing Judgment, and I remember like your initial reaction to it wasn't very good because it was more of a
Yeah,
detective story.
yeah. I was
But
like,
I think
oh,
from now on, it seems like that's gonna be more of where like the classic Yakuza
yeah.
gameplay is gonna lie, and then the actual Yakuza franchise is gonna be more turn based. I think that's a really weird
Mm.
decision to make, but
Yeah, I
whatever.
thought it was strange, but so the Judgment games, like I didn't really like Judgment when I first played it. I was like, this is what? And but then like as I played more of it, I fell in love with the story, and it was like one of the best. It was my game. It ended up being my game of the year of that year that it came out. Like it was so good. And then Lost Judgment came out, and I really loved that. I had the PS5 version, and just fell in love with that. And I really like that franchise. And I'm just bummed out that like that's gonna be the game that's like the classic Yakuza style, and then like like and like a Dragon's gonna be turn based moving forward. Um, but this Ishin game, dude, I'm so hyped for it. Have you seen the
I saw
trailer?
some gameplay. It looks really cool because
Yeah.
you can like dual wield a katana and a gun,
Yes.
and like you can just get crazy with it, and that just seems like the perfect like Yakuza formula. Because for
Yeah.
people who haven't played Yakuza, you really should give it a shot because it's an open world game. Well, it's like I would call it like semi open world,
Yeah. It's
right?
like a
Because
quasi
like it's
open world. It's not.
you're
Yeah, I agree.
because nowadays open world means like a lot more than it did
hmm
back when these games were coming out frequently. But you get to like explore this town, and like there's just like gang fights happening everywhere, and it's an open world game that is made entirely from a Japanese perspective, and it's so goofy and weird, but like you can definitely tell there's a lot of care that's get put into these games. And one of the things, I don't know about you, but one of the things that I absolutely love is the fact that you can play full classic games in the
Yeah, I
arcades
love it.
of Yakuza. And it's like, because I think in it's either Yakuza 6 or Yakuza 7, you can play like all of Virtua Fighter 3 or something
Yeah.
like that crazy. And
Yep.
it's just like absolutely insane that they did that. But yeah, Yakuza is a really cool series, man, because I played through Kiwami and loved it, and actually I almost platinumed Kiwami.
Oh
I
wow.
played through a lot of it. I got all of the dragon style
Yeah.
moves unlocked, all of them, and I was like, I'm all into this. And then I went to zero, and I really should have played zero first, I think, because I
hmm
went to zero, and I just could not. I hate Majima, and I know people love him, but I think he's so weird and like
He,
lame.
he's goofy.
Yeah, and I'm not about I'm not about him. So, and he's like the 50% of the story in that game. So,
hmm
um, yeah, I'm thinking that um after I get through Ghost of Tsushima and Horizon, I might jump back into Yakuza Kiwami because I'm dying for like a good action game. That's what I really want, and I can't seem to find it. I want like a because I feel like all the action games that come out now are like a Souls like because it's trendy.
Yeah.
But what I really want is more of like a Devil May Cry, Metal Gear Revengeance type of action game, Bayonetta, something like that. But I can't seem to find one. Like it's like they don't come out very often anymore, and that's a really weird thing.
Yeah, I agree because like Devil May Cry was pretty popular. Like I would say like that style isn't like frowned upon or not well received.
Well,
So,
they also said they're gonna make a new Devil May Cry after the success of five. and that's exciting because I loved Devil May Cry 5. I think it's probably the best action game of
I
all
gotta
time.
play. I have so many games I still have to play. Ugh. What was I gonna say? Yeah, like so. You ever notice like you think we're getting like beat over the head with Souls games now?
Yeah, like I said, every single action game that comes out seems to be a Souls like, you know. That's kind of disappointing to me because although I loved Elden Ring and I kind of understand the Souls like thing now, I do still like really good solid action games, and
Yeah.
I don't feel like you can find them anymore. Like right now, I'm looking at Steam and I'm trying to find like action games. And first off, Steam's tag system completely useless. Like
Yeah,
I'll
I
be
hate
honest,
that.
Steam's storefront is a complete shit show because if I go under the action tag, right, the, not only okay, so the things that pop up first under the action tag: Dead by Daylight, the Worms franchise,
Oh god.
Cyberpunk, and Counter Strike. They're all under action, and I'm like, what are we doing? you know, um, but yeah, man, I don't know. I'm looking for that meaty, not super hard, but like super fun hack and slash game. But I can't find it.
See, the I feel like we're getting too many Souls games, but like there's one coming out that's based in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, and I'm probably gonna buy that one.
I saw that. It looks really good. It does look really good.
Yeah, I'm like, I need to be in on this. Like, I feel like that's the one. And here's the thing where I'm also noticing that we're running into. So it's funny we bring up Ghost of Tsushima because Ghost of Tsushima comes out, right? And then all of a sudden everyone's like, "Yo, people like games in the fucking Edo period? Like what?
Ridiculous because we've been
Isn't
asking
that
for them
wild?"
forever. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like Assassin's Creed just announced that they're finally making a Japanese game. It's like,
yeah.
hey,
I feel
too late.
yeah. They did
We've
that
been
with
asking
fucking
forever.
Valhalla.
Yeah,
They're like, "Oh shit, Norse mythology? What?"
why didn't we think of that?
Yeah,
Because you're
and then they
idiots.
release one, and it's
Yeah,
funny because like a
ridiculous.
banger comes out, like a whole banger comes out, and then they're like, "Oh hey," and no one wants to play it.
Dude, it's crazy, man, because like I said, people have been asking for like a Japanese Assassin's Creed game forever.
Yeah,
And for some reason they were like, that's ridiculous.
they're
Why
like
would
that
we make
was
it? There's only the most famous assassins in history came from that era.
yeah,
And I don't know I don't know what they were thinking, man. It's crazy.
yeah. I'm just like, what the fuck? And it's just wild because like it, it's these trends that get set. So like if you look at like even 10 years ago, zombie games were all the thing. It's like zombie this or zombie apocalypse that or post apocalyptic this. And now it's just like open world is big, and now I feel like it's definitely like samurai, like Edo period style games.
And you know what? I'm glad we're finally getting them. It's just ridiculous that it took this long. Is all it is.
Yeah. So,
Um,
what do you think is going to be the next like fad?
I don't know. I can see a classic JRPG resurgence coming that might be taking up an over, but I don't know, man. It's hard to say because they seemingly come out of nowhere. These fads because we are just getting started with this Edo period Japanese thing. Like it's coming because
Yeah.
they just showed off two games at Sony State of Play that look pretty identical, and they're both Edo period Japanese games. So it's like, all right, we're probably gonna get another Neo game.
Yeah.
Um, and we're probably gonna get Ghost of Tsushima 2. There's a
Oh
movie
yeah.
coming out for it, and we're just getting started, buddy. We're gonna get this. Buckle up because we're getting samurai games for the next 10 years.
Yeah, and it's
Um,
going to be hard to not buy every single one of them because like I
yeah,
just love that period so damn much.
I mean, it's a good time. It's a good time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see a platformer resurgence, man. I really
Okay.
could because we don't get them anymore, you know?
No, I feel like it's
We
a
don't
dead genre, really.
yeah, but I'm telling you, I mean, I was playing Astro's Playroom, and I was like, "Mhm, this is what I want." I'm feeling I was having a blast playing Astro's Playroom, and now what I don't want is like a Crash Bandicoot resurgence, where Crash Bandicoot is essentially a Souls-like, but for
Oh
platformers.
god. Yeah.
I hate that game, dude. I Me and Watson were getting we made the goal to play through the original Crash Bandicoot and beat it, right?
I
It took
remember
us
this.
forever to do it. Forever. Two grown men who are experienced at video games, dude, some of those like levels in Crash Bandicoot are soul crushing. They are, and in the new one, they actually made it harder because they made the hitboxes rounded instead of square. So if you hit the edge a little too far, Crash is just gonna slide off. I'm like, what sick sadistic motherfucker did this? But I
Somebody
can
who
see
wants
it.
to
I
watch the
could see
world
it.
burn.
Yeah, I could see like a big resurgence of like the Jack and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank type games. Because I heard the new Ratchet game is good. That's what I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it's
hit
really,
last
really
year on
good.
PS5. I loved the what was it 2016 remake
Yeah,
of the first one.
that's
That game
also
was
really good.
fucking bonkers, and I loved it. Um, so I'm excited. Jack and well, not Jack. Ratchet and Clank's coming back. People have been asking for it forever, and I know this is a hot topic. I would not mind Naughty Dog going back to Jack and Daxter.
I
I really
I don't
wouldn't,
s
dude. Because here's the thing: there's nothing wrong with games that aren't lifelike.
yeah, no.
You know, like, and I know this is like what Colin Moriarty talks about all the time. He's like, "Oh, is that really what you want Naughty Dog to do?" It's like, kinda. Like, why does every game have to be a lifelike? You know, the everyone looks like they're real at this point. Game. Every other game does that, and honestly, dude, I just don't know that I'm a Naughty Dog guy at this point. I didn't like the last Uncharted. I didn't like The Last of Us. I didn't play Last of Us 2 because at that point, you know, why would I? Um, and I just don't know. But I would like to see a return for them to make Jack and Daxter because I love Jack and Daxter. And I look at what happened to Ratchet and Clank. Those games look amazing. And if Jack and Daxter was animated the same way, I could see it being huge.
Yeah. Here's the thing with Naughty Dog. I feel that they're good at what they do, very clearly. I liked all the Uncharted games. I I played Last of Us 1 and 2. I refuse to buy the new Last of Us. Like I'm not buying that unless like you can
Absurd,
give me
right?
that on PS Plus. Like I'm not buying that.
We're on the same
But
page with that. I'm glad
yeah.
because I think it's absolutely absurd that they're charging $70 for that. And
Yeah, and I feel like they phoned it
I don't
in,
know.
and like I'm
Yeah,
sure it's running well, and the upgrades are nice for people who haven't already played it. But I just feel like the Last of Us after this TV show, whatever happens with it, needs to go away for a while. Like needs to go away.
yeah, they definitely phoned it in. They put a fresh coat of paint on an old car, and they're selling it for a new price. And I'm like, I'm not about that. Um,
Yeah,
Especially because dude, it feels like we just got The Last of Us
I
remake
know.
on PS4. You know, because people will be like, "Oh, you know, the game came out in 2013." I'm like, "Well, the game really came out on PS4 like a year or two after that, though, right? I mean,
Yeah,
come on." And it looks great still. It's one of the best looking games on PS4. So
yeah, and it's a great
let's take
game.
a chill
It's a
pill.
great
Yeah,
fucking game. Like don't get me wrong, but like don't beat me over the head with it. Like I don't need like The Last of Us over and over and over again. So it's
yeah.
just like with
I don't
Naughty
know.
Dog, like I feel like they need to get inject some fresh life into what they're doing. So excuse me, maybe going back to Jack and Daxter would be a good, just a palate cleanse for them. But
Yeah, mix it up a little bit.
maybe like they need to take on a new franchise, like do Siphon Filter or something. Like just
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
give me
Dude,
something where don't I don't know. I'm just tired of the third person, like the third person shooter, like narrative driven game from them. Like they're good at it, they're phenomenal, but like I want something fresh.
it was
I
widely
want something
considered
fresh.
it was widely considered that The Last of Us was the best developer in the industry for a long time, right?
Yeah,
But I
like Naughty
feel
Dog.
like
Yeah,
I feel
Insomniac
like
trumped them.
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. I feel like the other developers have caught up at this point,
Yeah,
and
I
what they
agree.
do is not that special anymore. It's just the way the way it is. I don't think that The Last of Us tells a story inherently better than like Spider Man does.
No.
I thought the the acting and the cutscenes and the graphics, everything in Spider Man was just as good as anything Naughty Dog's ever put out. So you know,
So, a quick aside on Spider-Man, right?
hmm
I think you and I are kind of on different camps on Miles Morales. I think. Um,
definitely.
well, I really enjoyed the Miles Morales game. I actually really liked it. Uh,
I thought it was average. It was fine.
but here's something that I found strange. How come that game wasn't like controversial? Or did I miss something?
What do you mean controversial?
Well, cuz like spoilers, guys. Um what is it? The Tinkerer is the villain, I think, right? No,
Okay,
Taskmaster. Is it Taskmaster or the Tinkerer? Is it
Tinker.
Tinkerer?
Yeah,
I can't remember the villain.
Taskmaster's the orange and white skull guy
Yeah.
with the sword and shield.
Yeah, it's the Tinkerer, I believe then, right?
hmm
Is a female.
hmm
And you get into like some slobber knockers with her. Like where he's
Yeah,
straight slamming her, punching her. Not saying this is me like making the narrative, but like I was a little shocked that we didn't make that a thing.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, at what point, if you're doing that, can you be like, well, Harley Quinn's the same way, you know?
Yeah,
And
but
it's
people are
like,
upset
man,
about black dwarves in Lord of the Rings. Like,
because I think a lot of that is because people are upset and these companies want to deflect. And then don't get me wrong, there definitely is some like racism about it, but I don't think it's as extreme as like these companies make it out to be, dude. Here's the thing: Rings of Power is a fucking generic ass
I haven't watched it.
lame show. Like I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan.
Yes,
Watson is a huge Lord of the Rings fan. Vicky is, right?
and they hate
Robert
it.
is. I think we all come away being like, there's not much here. It's just boring, and it feels very. If you designed an AI to make a Lord of the Rings show, this is what would come out. You know, it feels lifeless, and it's because they're so hell. You can tell that this was made. Like Colin says, pink hair in the writers' room.
Yeah,
This was made to push a narrative instead of a product. And Galadriel is flawless, and I don't understand why they keep making this mistake with these characters, dude. Like, a good character has flaws. That's what makes Peter Parker such a great character, is because he's defined by his flaws. He fails, and that haunts him forever, which is why his he keeps going. Some like a character like Galadriel has never failed at anything. She just she just does whatever she wants with no repercussions or consequences, and I don't know, man. It's not for me. And it's like the same type of thing keeps happening. I will
okay.
say, bad move on Amazon to put themselves up against
Yeah,
House of the Dragon,
that was not smart,
because everyone's comparing those two shows. In House
and
of
it's
the
not.
Dragon, although I will say it's not as good as Game of Thrones, far better than Rings of Power.
Okay.
Far
So
better.
I've yet to watch Rings of Power. Like every time I go to watch, I'm like, I don't know. I get weird vibes from you. I don't know if I'm gonna like this. But then like sometimes like I tend to it. I for some reason tend to fall on weird spectrums because sometimes I love something everyone else kind of fucking hates, but then like other times like I'm like everyone loves this. Yeah, this is nah, I'm out. But
One thing
I
I
don't know.
will say
Good.
is in the very first episode, there is the most cringe-inducing scene I think I've seen
Okay.
in any show. Dude, literally, there's a black like elf, right? Who's supposed to be like your like main action hero type guy, I guess.
Uh huh.
I don't know the vibe they're trying to go with him. But so like already you've created a character that's going to be controversial because he's a black elf, and you guys knew that when you were creating the character. But then in the first scene you put him in, he walks into a bar, and there's an allegory for real world racism where
Uh,
these white characters are like, you know, you're gonna hold us accountable for things our ancestors did 1,000 years ago, and whatnot. There's like a whole conversation about it, and I'm like, oh my god, dude, like, can we just not? Can we just not do
yeah,
this? You know, like,
I
I
can
don't know.
I can see why that's the sentiment because I'd be tired of hearing that too. But yeah, like I haven't watched Rings of Power, and I haven't, aside from playing a little bit of Ghost of Tsushima. Like I said, I was on the second island, and I've been still enjoying the game. Like I haven't been playing anything else. Just been busy working, and just now football started. Like I've been watching a ton of college football, then NFL football. So the weekends are pretty packed with activities. But I've been watching House of Dragon, and before I was watching House of Dragon, I had been watching The Wheel of Time, and then Rings of Power is coming out or came out, and then like after basically once Game of Thrones goes on a break or ends, whatever they do, I'm probably gonna watch The Witcher. That's in my docket.
The
But then
Witcher's
I'm
good.
sitting,
I like The Witcher.
but then I'm sitting here like we're getting too many fantasy shows.
It's because Game of Thrones was popular, dude. That's all
Yeah,
it is.
and I feel like it's breaking the immersion for me. Like where I so far I'm like halfway through the Wheel of Time and I really like it. I know it's like got every time when I looked at reviews online for some reason, like I guess people were really negative. I didn't read the book, so like I don't really have an attachment to the I don't really have an attachment to the series or the book, so like maybe my opinion's skewed. Like I thought the show has been good so far. I really like the visuals, but people like are just shitting all over this. I'm like, oh my, like just a lot of vitriol for something, like a lot like being overly upset, and
Yeah.
and I feel like and maybe the shade towards Rings of Power is the same way. Like maybe it's like justified. But like I said, I got to watch it for me to formulate my own opinion. But like I just feel like everything that's coming out, so we have too many fantasy shows, and then like everything that does come out is like just so negatively received like immediately. I'm like, oh my god. Like Rings or the Wheel of Time, if you look on Amazon Prime, it's rated 3 stars. I'm like, really? That I don't think it. I don't like. It's a pretty good show.
Well, so all I can say about Wheel of Time is that I watched the first episode and I was like, nah, I'm good. I don't know anything about the franchise other than the Amazon show, so I'm not like a fan of the franchise or anything. I saw it and I thought maybe this is interesting. I tuned in for one episode and then I was done. It wasn't for me.
I really like it. I've really enjoyed the story so far. They say the books are better, but I'm not going to read the books.
It was time for that.
Yeah, not this fucking guy. But like I agree with you. Like Rings of Power coming out right around Game of Thrones. Like that's to me, someone should be fired. Like who? Like just wait till Game of Thrones. Like I don't know how many episodes we're gonna get in season 1 of House of Dragon, but like just wait for it to finish and then release the fucking Rings of Power. Like why sit there and be like we're gonna compete when you're not? It's like releasing stuff to go up against like Call of Duty. Like you just like don't do it.
Yeah, you don't do it unless it's a widely different genre.
Yeah,
Um,
and I just feel like that's also part of the problem where, like the House of Dragon, Game of Thrones is going to be popular and people love Game of Thrones. So, but like with Lord of the Rings, like the only people who are going to really flock to Lord of the Rings are going to be hardcore Lord of the Rings fans. So, if you're trying to appeal to the casuals and you go up against Game of Thrones, people are just going to watch Game of Thrones because it's more popular. Like Rings of Power should have come out either in the summer or in the holiday.
I agree.
Not in the
I
fall.
agree.
Not in the fall.
Yeah, this is a bad move altogether. Especially when you already knew it was going to be like controversial because Amazon knew. Those guys knew at Amazon. They knew that what they were doing was going to be, it was going to stir up waves, if you will. So
Well, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. Just I I struggle to believe. and could be just me being naive, but I struggle to believe that guys who grew up as fans of this type of stuff and then get to the point where they're in the writers' room decide they're gonna fuck it up.
Well, I will say I don't think it was fans of the franchise that got into the writers' room for this one.
So,
That's what it seems like.
but how does that happen? Like, how does that happen?
In my honest opinion is that it happens because you're hiring people based on politics instead of writing credentials, and you're not hiring the right people because, dude, I mean, for you to come out right, and they specifically waited until uh, Tolkien's son died,
Yeah.
right, and then they bought only the rights to the Second Age, so that in the show they can't reference any of the lore of the world because
Oh,
they don't
you're
have the rights to the
kidding me.
Silmarillion, right? And the Silmarillion's like the codex for the whole laws of nature in the world of not Game of Thrones of the Tolkienverse. So right there is a huge red flag
Yeah, that's an
in
L.
that fans did not make these decisions. And then you say things like, "This is the story that Tolkien always wanted to write, but never could."
What?
Well, motherfucker, Tolkien wrote like Bibles of his wrote like Bibles of his world. Like he had all the time that he wanted to write things. You know, he had unfinished works, tons of them,
Hmm.
but none of them were like this. So let's take a step back. You guys are not, Tolkien. Um, and I just don't think that this doesn't have the quality of a Tolkien work, and it doesn't. And when you're taking characters like Galadriel, who is a really complicated, good character already with a ton of lore, and you make her a classic warrior archetype,
Hmm.
a fan did not make that decision. First off, why is being a magic user is cool.
Yes.
Why do we got to put a sword and shield in her hand? Like, why can't she just be a magic user? Like, that is cool enough, man. Like, Gandalf is a cool character, right?
Yeah.
Because he's a wizard. Why
We
can't
like wizards.
Galadriel be a caster like she's supposed to be? Now they wanted to make her super masculine with a sword in hand, and I'm just like, I'm not bad at that. Nah.
Yeah.
She's cool enough. She was cool enough before.
Okay. So I will. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to watch it so I can give an opinion. Just because I feel like what I don't want to happen is for the show to get spoiled for me, and like thankfully it hasn't been spoiled on Facebook or Twitter yet, thank God. But I also feel that's because none of my friends are watching it.
Um, yeah, I don't know, man. I recommend everybody give it their own watch and formulate their own opinion. And if you can, try not to read anything about it because
Yeah, the internet will fucking shit
it's
all
good.
over that.
It's gonna spoil your experience if you do. So,
Yeah, so I'm just waiting
but
for like a nice 3-day weekend to kind of just bang it out, you know? Because I haven't been able to binge watch anything. Like I don't know what it is. Like I feel like I don't have enough time to fucking
yeah,
sit down and just dedicate a fucking day to getting a show in.
yeah. All right, buddy. Uh, let's talk about Falcom real quick because I
Yeah,
got a
let's
bone
talk
to
about
pick.
Falcon.
I got a bone to pick.
Pick
I
your
woke
bone.
up last. I woke up last week. To Google alerting me because Google knows everything about me, right? That I'm playing Falcom games forever. That they cut out they um give a DMCA or whatever it is to the people doing the fan translations
Oh,
for
really?
um Hajimari and Kuro. So
That's
I immediately woke up, ran to my computer, and downloaded the fan translation for Kuro no Kiseki, um, the patch. So that because I knew that was gonna get taken down. It's gonna be hard to find pretty soon. I wanted to get your overall take on this, right? Because I
Mhm.
have a fan patch for Hajimari and I have a fan patch for Kuro. It's not pirating because I'm still gonna buy the games from Falcom.
Yeah. Well, you already
So
did
they're
buy the
still
games from
gonna get
Falcom.
I bought Hajimari. I haven't bought Kuro
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
So,
No, I don't think it's pirating.
um, it's not pirating. How do you feel about them shutting down the fan translations? Because in my opinion, I'm a little frustrated by it because hey, if you guys would get these games out in a timely manner, you translate them to the other languages pretty quick, right?
Yeah,
But you're not translating them to English for years. There's a reason people are doing fan translations.
yeah.
You
See,
know, I don't know. It's
it's tough
frustrating.
because like Falcom's such a small company that do I think like the English fan translations are like nefarious in nature or have any ill meaning? No, but do I think like that might cost them some sales on a game on games that probably like every sale matters. I feel like so you still might buy the games from Falcom, but how many people who get that patch are going to buy the NTSC releases because in their eyes they probably already paid for Kuro and Hadramari, so Capcom already got their money. So it's just kind of
Well,
like,
well,
is that
so
going to create soft sales here?
but that's what I'm saying. No matter what, they're not unless you're pirating the game, they're
Yeah,
not losing money, right? Because you're still buying the Japanese version. Instead of buying the Japanese version, you just buy the English version if it wasn't for fan translations.
right.
So I don't really see the harm in them. And the issue is caused by themselves because if they had just gotten these games out in a timely manner like they do for the Korean and Chinese markets, then it
Yeah,
wouldn't be an issue. But for some reason they take their sweet time with the West and it's just like, hey, if you guys got the job done, these wouldn't be necessary. But they're the fans of the series in the West, they're kind of necessary, especially when they didn't bring the Crossbell arc out for 10 years or whatever it was.
right.
It's just it rubbed me the wrong way to be honest with you.
Well, because here's my thing with it. Like, it just feels like they don't have the maybe the capacity to do it, but like they have publishers over here. So just like when you're releasing Hajimari in Japan, like go to Xseed or NIS, whoever's publishing their games, and I'll be like, yo, like let's get this translated. Like and I don't know what causes like them to wait to even get the translation or localization like even going, or if somebody has to approach them because like they have to at this junction know that people love Falcom games over here in the West. Like when they get bought up, they're usually well received. I've yet to see a Falcom game get like a bad review. People love East, people love Trails,
Right, right.
and there's a hardcore fan base for it that will buy it. Like I feel like that game probably comes to the United States and maybe sells like 500,000 copies, and maybe I'm being generous, but I still feel like that's a significant amount for a small company like that. And the fact that like they're gonna lose some sales because like I guess they're not efficient enough to get those releases done over here, so we're not waiting years. Like I don't want to wait years for Hadramari. Like I don't want to be like 4 years into the PS5 life cycle. I'm like, oh hey, this is coming in on PS4, guys. Hey,
Well,
like
right, dude,
don't do
because
that.
at this rate for Kuro, it's gonna be 2024, 2025 until that gets translated. And
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, come on. And the thing is a group of like two or three guys are doing this by themselves in 3 months, 4 months, however long it is. And they're like, how is it possible that Falcom and NIS can't get this done in a timely manner when they get the other translations done in a timely manner? It seems like there's some sort of litigation process that's going through, and whatever is going on, it's not getting done efficiently.
Now,
And I
do you
just don't know
think
why you'd want to spite the fans who are like honestly giving you free advertising, giving you these sales, and I don't know. I can see
you
why they would want the official translation to be the one people play. But also, I'm like, if you just got it done in a timely manner, the fan translation would be completely irrelevant, just like it is for every other franchise.
do you think maybe because recording VO is the issue?
It could be, it could be, but honestly, I would rather have it just be completely subtitled
Yeah,
than wait 4 years for these fucking games to come out.
yeah. Because I just thought about that. I'm like, yeah, it could be because of the voice acting, and I don't know. I really do wish they'd come over in like a timely fashion because like it sucks. Like the Crossbell arc that I don't know when that's coming out, but shouldn't it be soon?
That should be, yeah, this fall.
Yeah, so like we're getting the Crossbell arc, and for people who jumped in at Cold Steel, that's going to be very jarring because like the art style is vastly different. It's like the pseudo 2D, 2.5D, um, like visual style, and like I don't know, I don't know how fans are gonna receive it here. Like maybe it won't matter because like people just love Kaseki, but I still think for people who are expecting, oh, I like the Trails of Cold Steel, here's another one, and they're like, oh,
Yeah, so the Crossbill art comes out in like a week and a half.
yeah,
So that's gonna be big. I might actually get that and play it. I'm not sure. I'm a little burnt out on Trails right now.
yeah. It's been so long. I, I've been getting the itch to get back into Trails because like now that I have my 70-inch TV hooked up here in the game room that with my Steam link, like with the PC link, I'm like,
Attaboy,
it could be
attaboy.
time. It could be time
Yeah,
to just get in here and just
yes,
play some Trails into the
that's what I like to
Sky.
do.
But or I could go get the Crossbell arc because I like those games. Like I played a little bit of Trails into Azure, like the Japanese version, liked what I played.
Hmm.
Um and let's like I just I don't know. Oh, speaking of Hajimari, I think I can finally tell you what the fucking spoiler is that's on the cover.
Okay, yeah, tell me.
So, did you tell me what you thought about that final scene at the end of Trails of Cold Steel 4? Like there's that like kind of after credit scene they show.
The wedding?
No, the other scene where the members of Ouroboros are meeting.
I don't know if I saw that. I might have to. 'Cause I just skipped through the rest of the credits. I think I let it play, so I think I may have missed that.
Yeah, then you definitely missed it. But
Oh yeah, I'll have to look that up.
okay. So, do you know what they're calling Hajimari, like the different editions?
No.
So I believe there's one that's called the Grand Master Edition,
Oh.
and I think this person, if you watch that scene, because this is the PS4 version of Hajimari that I'm showing you right now, and this person on the cover, I suspect, because of what I saw in that cutscene, is the Grand Master.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look up that scene.
Yeah, so like
'Cause
get a good
I
look at
definitely
him,
missed that.
get a good
Yeah.
look, and Um, I think that's who the Grand Master is, and I think that's gonna be sick. That's why I really want to play Hajimari. And now that I'm like looking at this, I fucking feel like I need to start collecting Japanese PS4 games because I love this fucking cover. Like I
It's a
love
good looking
this,
cover. It looks good. Yeah,
and
definitely.
it came with a fucking manual.
Oh, that's big.
Yeah,
That's big. What's happening here?
that's what I'm saying. So I'm like, I kind of you're. If there was a way I could download the English translation patch and put it on PS4, I'd probably be more likely to play it because I already have
Mm.
the PS4 version and I don't want to buy Hajimari twice.
There was the overlay you could have done. That requires you to do remote play on PC and whatnot, and
Nah.
it was kind of annoying. But the patch actually is pretty well, and it's definitely playable.
Yeah, you're
So
gonna have to send me that patch.
yeah, I might.
Yes.
Give me 1 second, Pedro. I'm
Yeah.
gonna pause the recording, and I have to go to the bathroom, and I'm gonna
All
put
right,
the
bro.
cat's toys up now.
And we're back.
Yep.
All right. So, kind of as we're winding down the show, I want to talk a little bit about our friends at Nintendo. They recently just had a direct. Now, I know we talked about um, what our thoughts are on Nintendo, and I feel that they get away with a lot, and they don't ever get held accountable. But I still buy their products because
Hmm.
like I here's the thing about them. Like they piss me off sometimes but like I know there's going to be a level of quality, specifically on just on a functional level when I buy something from them. Like it's very rare you buy a Nintendo game that's just fucked from the start.
True.
There's no day one patch or none of that nonsense. And
That's true. That's fair.
um, they just had a direct, and just touching on some of the announcements. So I'm assuming you heard the new Zelda got announced.
Yeah, and full disclosure, I haven't seen this direct because I just don't never tune into Nintendo directs. So
Okay. Well, so it'll be nice to get your organic reactions here then. And we got a new Fire Emblem, and it's basically looks like three houses, but like the character has like hair like he's like a fucking ho oh, like it's weird.
so
Um,
yeah, so it's funny because I actually did see like screenshots of the new Fire Emblem, and I do not dig the art style of it because it
it's
looks
just,
like
it
three
looks like three
houses,
houses, yeah,
but it's like way more anime, like
yeah.
way more, and everyone's calling the main character Coolgate, which I think is really funny.
That's amazing. Um, I think his name's Alfred from what I saw in the trailer, but yeah. So we're getting a new Fire Emblem, which is coming out pretty soon. We're getting Kirby's Return to Dreamland, Octopath Traveler 2, Bayonetta 3, Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm, a new one, Final Bar Line, which I'm probably gonna buy that. Um, GoldenEye 007 with online play. So all the old heads playing slaps only. It's also fun fact that's also coming to Xbox and PS
That's kind of cool.
and PlayStation systems. So, but I feel like if I feel like with GoldenEye, you have to play it on a Nintendo system to just get the fucking feel, like because that's so ingrained on like Nintendo consoles. I just feel like it's weird to play it on another system. Um, Crisis Core is coming to Switch. The Final Fantasy VII Reunion, which December 13th, 2022. That's coming pretty quick.
Switch is a weird one for that
Yeah.
because
Uh,
they don't have a remake much, so
correct.
that's strange.
So Nintendo Switch Sports is getting the golf mode, which I'm excited about because I really like Switch Sports. Uh, Mario Strikers Battle League, which remember that comment I made about Nintendo like usually never releasing bad games in a bad state. They fucked up with Strikers. They fucked up. Like this game, it was like lacking content. Like it wasn't running well. I don't know what happened, but they famously fucked up with this, and that's a rare L for Nintendo. Because usually, for some reason, when anything like with Mario or Link, with their big ones, they're usually their standards like we don't fuck this up. We under no circumstances do we like fuck this up.
Right, right.
So it's that's a bit of a sign of a little rust in the armor there. Xenoblade Chronicle 3 is getting Wave 2 of DLC add-ons and a new mechanical hero, whatever that means. No one cares about Splatoons. We're just not going to talk about that. I lied. It's like selling like 3 million copies already in Japan alone, which is nuts. Uh, Resident Evil Village is coming to Switch via cloud, which that's a little comical. Harvest Moon is getting another game. Something called Fae Farm RPG. Harvestella gets a demo, and it's coming out November 4th, which is a Square Enix game. Another Fatal Frame game got announced. Tunic Adventure coming to Switch. It Takes Two is coming to Switch. Sifu is coming to Switch. Front Mission Remake and Front Mission 2 Remake are coming.
It's interesting.
Um, all Atelier Rezia 3, which I think we talked about that those aren't good games, but I think that was us that discussed that. Now
I've never played any of them.
here's one that we're gonna stop here. Tales of Symphonia Remastered. Thoughts?
Um, I was a big fan of Tales of Symphonia on the GameCube,
Yes.
and I bought the remastered collector's edition whenever that
L.
came out, like forever ago, and it was not very good. So I don't know. I never wanted to go back to Tales of Symphonia after that because I also think that Tales of Symphonia was good for the time, but I think the newer games are better than Tales of Symphonia. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember thinking Tales of Symphonia was overrated.
yeah,
But it's a good game. Like it's famous. Like when we first started talking as friends, like I remember like the comment we would make about that game. It was like the Final Fantasy VII of the Tales series. Like
yeah.
that was the one that people always harp on, but I still think there are better games. Like I think Vesperia is a better game. I think the little bit of Berseria I've played is better than that. But
Yeah.
it should be at this point. But my favorite Tales game is Tales of the Abyss. So like I just think there are better games. So moving on, Danganronpa creators have announced so Spike Chunsoft have announced Master Detective Archives Rain Code with
They're
two O's. I
making
don't know.
they're making a new detective game that's not related to Danganronpa.
Yeah.
That's
So
weird. I don't know if I like
Rune
that.
Factory 3 is getting new life in 2023. Various Day Life is a new immersive RPG. That's also from Square. Uh, let's see what else we got. Fitness Fitness Boxing Fist of
Putting
the
this
North
dick in your
Star.
mouth.
But yeah, Fitness Boxing is getting a Fist of the North Star coat of paint, which is really funny. So like you're
Pretty
sitting
funny.
there as like Kenshiro doing boxing workouts.
Okay, I kind of dig it.
Yeah, but the reason I'm bringing up this Nintendo Direct is I feel like Nintendo actually put out a good show and they're heading into 2023 very strong.
Hmm.
And like I feel like Switch, and I could be wrong, but I feel like Switch is like the home for the JRPG. I feel like every fucking JRPG coming out comes on Switch.
Yeah, it's no denying that Square Enix has a really strong presence on Switch,
They have a
and they're
hard
giving the
on for the
Switch,
Nintendo Switch.
yeah, and they're giving the Switch a lot of love. The Switch does have a lot of good JRPGs. And I cannot deny that. I definitely have a hard time praising the Switch for anything because I just have a natural reaction to playing Switch games. But I gotta get in there with Xenoblade Chronicles 3 still,
Yeah,
and I gotta get in there with Fire Emblem. I haven't played Three Houses much yet.
it's
Still,
really really good.
I know it's really good. Everyone keeps raving about it, and I gotta get in there with that. Um, Octopath Traveler 2 is coming to Switch, which is hopefully better than the first one because the first one was gorgeous, but I hated the story format in the first one. Um, Front Mission is a series that I've always wanted to play, and I just never got around to it. So that could be an interesting pickup for Switch as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think when you're looking for like the classic JRPG experience, the Switch could be the home for that for sure.
yeah, and it's just wild that like I just feel like the Nintendo Switch all of a sudden became this like JRPG powerhouse.
Hmm.
And here's my concern with Nintendo, and this is probably a wildly misplaced concern because like they just know how to survive. Like they just know. I've I, I don't think we'll ever see Nintendo, and again, famous words here, go back to the Wii U days where like just a royal fuck up. And what do they do next?
I think in my personal opinion, Nintendo's been doing the same thing for the last decade or so. Um, and I don't think they need to change that formula anytime soon. They do their own thing. They just chill on their own. They let the third parties come to them, and they know their shit's gonna sell. That new Pokemon game that's coming out that I'm not really that excited for anymore.
Yeah,
Um, that's still gonna sell 10 million copies or whatever. Anytime they put up an Animal Crossing game, it's gonna sell, be the best selling game of the year. And like that's all first party. Nintendo banks all that money.
yeah.
Everything they put out just sells. It's a gold mine. Now, of course, I think we might differ on this. I do not like Breath of the Wild.
No, we're
Um,
on the same camp. I'm not a Breath of the Wild guy.
I think that at some point you do have to call a spade and be like, you know what, this is an open world game, and if it wasn't if it wasn't for the name Legend of Zelda, this would be a 6 or 7 out of 10. But because it's Legend of Zelda, it's all of a sudden for some reason a 10 out of 10, even though it does nothing special. So
Yeah.
and I'm so annoyed that we're gonna have to have these conversations again about Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild too, because it's like it's gonna be the same game, with a different setting probably, which is like all the Legend of Zelda games. But um, I think Nintendo just keeps doing what they're doing, man. I think we're gonna see a new Nintendo console in the next 3 years, and it's probably gonna be something like the Switch 2, hopefully, or the Super Switch. That'd be a cool name, like the
Yeah,
Super
don't
Nintendo.
go with the new Switch. Like, don't do that.
That whatever they were doing with their naming from like 2010 to 2015,
Yeah, they just like that fucking oh
take that employee and just throw him out in oncoming traffic. Um,
yeah.
but I think the Super Switch would be a cool name.
Yeah, because like my
Marketing back
concern
to
with them,
Nintendo.
well, my concern with them is like they do brilliant things, but they also like fuck up in areas where like they probably shouldn't. Like, then it doesn't make any sense. Um, so the Switch, like this next one that's coming out, like you got to know that the Steam Deck is a thing. Like, you got to know.
But it doesn't
So
matter. I don't think it matters anymore, dude. Like I've been harkening on the fact that Nintendo does things that and they should get clobbered by Sony and Microsoft for years, and they just never do. They're in their own little like they're in their own little camp, and people don't give a shit about the quality of the games Nintendo's putting out. They're gonna buy them day one, no matter what. They don't care about the graphics of Nintendo consoles. They just play their games and they're happy.
it's
And
true though.
I
It's so true.
and I can't fault them for that. Like people just like their Nintendo games, and that's fine. I mean, like the games look like they're 13 years old on Nintendo consoles, and they just
Yeah.
people love them, man. And and like that's fine because they're obviously the people are happy. They're having fun with their Nintendo games, and like and that's all it really comes down to. That's all you really want, you know.
And it's insanity because like it's so true. Like, Nintendo has a certain way of just producing certain games that just produce sales, or that just make their hardcore fans love it, and they just tend to just survive. Like, famously, Metroid does not sell consoles. Like, people who think it does. Like that
Right,
franchise does not move units.
right.
But like, whenever a new Metroid comes out, like there's always a huge buzz. And like me, I fuck with Metroid. Like, I'm like, when Metroid Dread came out, I was there day one, buddy. Like, we were there, and I loved that game. Like, and I absolutely adored that game. It's probably my favorite Switch game. But like, and all it is just a stupid little 2D or 2.5D like exploring, and like the bosses are really fucking hard, by the way. But I just like I could sink hours into that, and like Metroid doesn't have really a like a winding narrative. It's like nowhere on the level of a Naughty Dog or even like an Insomniac. So it's just like it's just funny how like they just do these simple things, and they blow up. And like you see Sony and Microsoft like just trying to put out banger and banger and dumping money into buying studios, and Nintendo's like, meh, Pokemon, yay.
Yeah, and everyone's happy, man. And then like what am I supposed to say? Like, oh, you guys stop having fun. It's like if those people are having a blast, I mean, who am I to say you guys shouldn't
Yeah,
be?
because a game like Pokemon Legends Arceus, like I haven't bought it yet. I really want to because like I feel like the concept's really good, but that game runs like shit. But like people
Oh yeah,
fucking
it
loved
definitely
that
does.
game.
Yeah, I loved it. I had a blast playing it.
Yeah, and it's just like how do they do it? I just don't understand how they just know what simple formula. Like, here you go.
Yeah, but it's true. They get it done every time. Every time.
Yeah. So kudos to Nintendo. Just wanted to shout out the direct, and bring some awareness, because like Square's definitely putting some banger RPGs on there. Even Romancing Saga is getting a remake, which is kind of crazy. So I think Square's doing some good stuff with getting classic franchises out there, even though they won't give us the pixel remakes of Final Fantasy, which I don't know what's going on with them. But
Yeah,
that's
like what is that? Why are they doing this to us?
they just I don't know. I don't understand the logic behind it. It doesn't make any sense. But yet they'll put like remakes out of like they've remade so many classic SNES RPGs already, but like they won't do Chrono Trigger, which maybe we don't want them to do Chrono Trigger, but
I don't think we do.
um and they won't give us the pixel remakes, and it doesn't make any sense. But I digress. Any closing thoughts, sir?
Um, I don't think so. I think we covered a lot of ground this episode.
Yes.
So
Yeah, no, I think I've got everything off my chest. Next show we'll do will definitely be the Kaseki cast. We'll dive right back into that some bitch.
yeah, we need to
And
do that.
yeah, so thank you everybody for a good show. It's been a pleasure having my lovely voice, my sultry tone come through your speakers and hopefully, give you a little tingly feeling in your pants. Yeah, that's if we did that, then we've
That's
done
what
our
we're
job.
looking for.
Yep.
That's what we
So
want.
remember, everyone, like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a listen on all podcasting services. Your little Podbean, your Stitcher, your Google Play, wherever we're at. Give us a listen, and remember, folks, when in doubt, square up and throw down.
Square
Toodaloo.
up, throw down.